This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Well, I'm going to start the meeting. It's a small crew, but I think people will trickle in, at least Margie and Mark and possibly Steven. One thing I just wanted to update everyone about really quick, and I can bring it up again at the end just in case more people come. Someone, let's see, let me just look up his name here really quick. Yeah. So, Daniel Buttrick of the he's part of the Conservation Commission with the city. I'm not actually 100% positive who he is, but he's somehow connected with the city, and we are a subcommittee of the Conservation Commission. So anyways, he said he's one of the people who was there from the beginning and realized that he's kind of lost track of what's been happening with the garden. And so I'm going to meet with him at some point to just go over things. I think there used to be some yearly correspondence with them just so they knew what we were doing. He did seem to be aware that we had like a link on the website, but I did tell him that we also, if he wants, he can access all of our meetings and notes and everything it's all public. It's a public meeting. So,
Yeah, right.
but I'm going to give him like a thorough rundown over email tomorrow. And then he also wants to meet, and I think it'll just be something to add to, our records. It's like, oh, like whoever, maybe the chair and the secretary, or the chair and the whatever, whoever wants to, it's like we meet regularly. Just, I feel like this is something I had asked about, or we had all asked about like 2 years ago, like what is our responsibility with the city? And it seemed like it was just to keep our budget in order and to have public meeting, it seemed like we were doing everything. So it just sounds like maybe re-squaring some of that stuff, which I'll update everyone once I find out more. And the agenda is pretty short. And yeah, if it's low next week, we'll have to start thinking about closing day, etc. So, all right. Anybody have anything they want to say up front before moving into the minutes conversation?
No.
Cool. Oh, here comes Norm. Maybe Norman is been accepted, but he's not. There we go. Hi, Norman.
What's going on there, Norman?
You're muted.
Norman.
Oh, there we go.
Hi. Sorry.
Hi, can people hear me? This is Christine.
Yes, we can hear you, Christine. Yeah.
Okay. If I have something to bring up, is now the time, or just to add it on there? It's something simple.
Yeah, I feel like now is as good as any. This is the public comment technically, but I feel like waiting to the end is the Gardner comment. So go for it now. Yeah.
What I'd like to know is if there's room in the budget for a first aid kit.
Oh yeah, there used to be
there is one, and there's nothing in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that should be pretty easy.
Okay. All right. So we can talk about that later, and it should include ice packs because I can't always have them on hand, and I've needed a lot this past 2 years.
I'm not sure we'd be able to keep ones that are frozen in there.
No, they're not the frozen ones. They're just the ones you punch, like that the EMTs have.
Oh, okay. Wow. I didn't even know about that. Great.
I'll punch the ice bags.
I'll call you. I need you, Norman. I don't know how to make the ice work.
Yes.
All right. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark. I sent you an email, but I found the link.
Sorry, I didn't do my usual hyperlink thing because my phone is terrible to email from, and I kept having to email from work. So I apologize. I totally forgot to do the hyperlink, but it's in the agenda.
Yeah. I decided to go there and see if there's any help.
Yeah. My gosh. Just my cruel trick this round. Okay. Let's go ahead and move then to the minutes. So we have last month's minutes from September. Does anyone motion to accept these minutes? Or first, does anyone have any comments on them, I guess? No? Awesome. All right. Anyone motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
All right. Norman, and anyone second the motion?
A second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Wonderful. Great. I just want to note here before I forget about the Dan. Okay. All right. Let's do some financial treasurer's report.
Okay. If everybody got it there, we had absolutely no transactions this past month.
Nice.
Yay.
Everything is the same as it was at the last meeting.
Great.
How's our crypto line doing there?
I'll let you know from Buenos Aires.
Can I ask tangentially, I guess, to the crypto thing now, tangentially to the budget is Karen, is everything all purchased? Is the pollinator garden budget, you guys bought the wood. Is there still any other budget you guys are going to need for this fall or next year?
Yes,
Okay.
we'll need dirt next summer.
Okay. Great. Awesome.
Dirt and compost if you do a compost run again.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we can build that into next year's budget.
Cool. I just want to make sure we build in the compost like startup stuff as well for next year. The like actually like, the 5-pile rotation compost thing. So I just wanted to make sure. I think we can easily do both if dirt is the main thing that's left for the pollinators garden. Cool. But I guess just really quick to follow up with Christine's note, looking at the budget right now, would anyone be able to go, let's see, what store would have most of the supplies for a first aid kit?
Well, you might get lucky and someplace like Aubuchon would have a first aid kit.
Oh, they probably actually totally must there. Okay.
You're not going to get the freezer packs there, though.
I wonder,
or gauze or proper gauze or that wraparound bandage.
You might have to
I
look.
could use my cash from the keys, I guess, but then we won't be able to.
I'll look online. I mean, I can always order from Amazon and we can do it out of petty cash if it's a reasonable amount.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, well, I think we need to check in with what's there. And I mean, it's probably, if there's petty cash, why not just go to Walgreens?
Yeah,
If-
whichever way we tackle it, I guess. But is the petty cash on here? I'm so sorry. I'm trying to look for it. Oh,
Yeah.
here we go. Okay, yeah. Ted,
All right,
I'll
do you
let
want-
you
do you want-
handle ordering it or ordering or going to Walgreens, whatever method is easiest for you. If I can pass that off, is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I can either do it or send you a list of what things we need.
So send me a list. I remember what I used to carry in a coaching first aid kit, and
Okay, so that would be good.
we'll we'll put that there. If there are any really special requests,
Yeah,
send me
it's the-
your list.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's the ice packs, basic Band-Aids, and I've been using the vinegar as a disinfectant because there's nothing else there. But yeah, I'll send you a note.
all right,
And it's just suggestions.
so
Awesome.
I'm on the Abishan site right now. So they have like a 205 piece first aid kit for $25.
Wow, sounds good.
They have another one that's $30, 178 pieces. Like we'd have to look and see what's in it.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
might
I
be
mean,
better off.
we have one already, and there's not, there's a lot of those like silly extra things in there. But we don't need an actual box. We need stuff.
Yeah. The
So why
200
do we need
pieces is
why
a
do we
lot of
need all the
Band-Aids.
ice packs again?
I've been falling a lot, and it's because of those stakes and just so it's like to keep down swelling, and I'm usually up there alone, and I know I'm not the only one that falls, but mostly when you fall, whether there's blood or not, if you ice it, you have a better chance. So that's what the ice packs are for.
Okay.
I mean, coach should know that.
Well,
Yep.
I had ice pack, but I coached a number of years. I just brought the ice though.
Oh, okay, I can't do that.
You got to do that on a regular, on the day, on the hour. So,
Cool. Well, it sounds like Ted's got that covered. If anything comes up, I can go grab some things too. And
On the
it'll
kit,
fit in the
should
budget.
we get some kind of bee sting thing, or is that going too far?
some
What
kind of
kind-
what?
what?
Allergies. The shot for allergies from a bee sting.
No.
Forget about. All right.
Well, you have to have a prescription to get the EpiPen.
I guess people got to bring their own EpiPen.
Yeah, you got to bring your own. You can't
That's-
start doing that, man.
That's not first aid per se.
No.
Can we hire a physician to be on?
Then you got to
call?
know.
I
how
think
to,
I'm just gonna hire an EMT to be there.
there you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
just in case.
Yeah, they're the ones that actually highly suggested it to me to bring it up.
All right.
Cool.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Yeah, thank you. Do we need to approve if there's been no changes? I guess we could anyways. I might as well for formality's sake.
Yeah, I think we should, just as a pro forma or whatever.
Hello, Stephen. Oh no, you're muted. You're muted.
I'm sorry. Unable to get on Google Meet?
Yeah.
We're on now.
No, we're all here.
This is Google Meet, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, because I saw that link that I tried that you had sent. I thought that was a different link. That's all.
Oh no, I just realized because I didn't send the hyperlink once I got in here, I was able to send new links directly to a bunch of suggested emails, and it was you guys. So I just went ahead and did
Okay.
that too.
Okay, just
Yeah.
checking.
Awesome. So does anyone move to approve the current budget as of, see, what are we labeling it? Statement of finances as of September 30th.
I move that we approve the budget.
Anyone second the
Second.
motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Fabulous. Okay, operations.
Not a whole lot to talk about. Except Mark, I think Yeah, we haven't talked about this, but we might want to do another like tool inventory at the end of the year and then see if we need to buy anything for next year. That was just something that crossed my mind. And then I'm taking some time off, I think next week. So there's gonna be, I'll probably do some mowing. There's one plot in particular, I think it was C12 that needs to be mowed. And then we're gonna need to pick a closing day. Because that's mainly where the operation stuff's going to go. We're going to have to put hoses away and all that kind of thing.
Do you guys remember the last year's closing day?
We
do it in November after, or is it in October at the end of
we
October?
usually do it at the end of October.
Okay.
I'm looking, the 19th would be too soon, probably. The 26th is a Saturday. That might make more sense.
Let's see. I am biased to Sundays. Oh, yeah, Mark.
I got zapped out again. Did you guys pass the budget?
We did.
Yes.
I have a question later when you have a moment.
Sure.
I got kicked off again.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna let me just write that down. Let's figure out maybe the closing work day, and then we'll go back to Mark's budget question. Okay. Let's see. So I have this event that's every other week. I'm just trying to make sure it's not the 27th. Okay. So we could do Saturday. Are Saturdays the best for everyone for a work day versus Sunday?
Yeah, for me, Saturday is a better day. I don't know about anybody else.
Anyone opposed to a Saturday closing work day?
Typically they're good, but that Saturday I may be booked, so
On the 26th?
yeah. I'll work around it.
Because we've had people in the morning and then we've had people come in the afternoon too.
Right.
Did we do that last year? Or did we?
Last year, I think
like,
we pushed it to the first week in November, but
and maybe we just did it all at the same time. Maybe we didn't have, or no, we did have an afternoon. Maybe just no one came. I can't remember.
Maybe we could list the chores and divide them by time blocks or something.
By time. It seems like we get most people in the morning.
Right.
But let's see. So what about Friday the 25th? Anyone opposed that day? In the afternoon?
I cannot do that.
I could do 26 in the morning.
That's
Saturday
work day for
morning.
some people, right?
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning.
I
Saturday
am
morning.
teaching a class that day, so I cannot do that.
What about November 2nd?
I know I'm like November 2nd is pretty free if that's not too.
I mean, we could push it that far, but Broadbrook, we're going to have to call Broadbrook because they're going to have to purge the lines before it gets too cold. I mean, last year we barely got cold, so, but that doesn't mean anything this year. So, depending on when they come, well, the city may turn the water off, so we may have to call them.
No. The city waits for us. We tell them.
Okay.
Well, if need be, we could just undo the hoses.
Yeah.
And have
Sure.
them do the water and then put the hoses away after. I mean,
Yeah, you don't need the hoses for much longer.
Mm-mm.
Well, would it be? Oh, and the 27th the Sunday, the 27th, people were available or no?
Afternoon for me, morning's church for me.
Yeah, I
I'm
have to do
available.
afternoon.
I could do
Well,
the
why don't we do the
27th.
27th? I might
Afternoon.
frame it just as afternoon because that's when the work days have been happening, unless I guess we can just have it be both and see who's available in the morning.
Or we just push it to the 2nd of November.
And make some kind of a preliminary list of what are the chores that we're going to be doing, so we can kind of pick away at them if we can't do them all the same day, you know.
Right.
I think we can just make sure they get done. It's nice to be together and be social, but you know, just want to get the job done.
Let's see. Why don't I'm gonna move, let's discuss the details of the closing workday with new business. Because that way we'll be through all the committees and kind of hear maybe what things need to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll solidify a date then. So I'm gonna move that to the end. And then before I forget, Mark, your question about the budget, and then Margie, I see your hand up too.
Yeah. I was wondering, Ted, how are we finishing out? I know we've still got some anticipated expenses. Does it look like we're going to break even?
Yeah, I think we're going to be fine. I think the only thing that I can see as possible expenses would be the closing down, which could probably be $250 or so.
You talking about Broadbook?
Excuse me?
You
Yes.
talking about Broadbook?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's already in the budget. So.
And that we've budgeted for, and I guess we now have some first aid supplies. Now, I guess the question is, do we want to do the first aid supplies now and have it sit up there all winter long?
Yeah.
Or just do it into the spring? I can start putting stuff together.
I would say
right now you can still use it. I mean, there's people up there, especially if the ground doesn't freeze until it snows, if it does. I mean, we're usually up there till December and then start up again in March.
yeah, so I would say the sooner you can get it, the better. Just I don't know. My cats are being insane. I really apologize. But I don't know if anyone can hear them running around. But
Yeah.
I would think is sooner rather than later, right, for the first aid, just because people are still there. Maybe we'll need it at the work day. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm not sure what's in those freeze bags. I'll have to check to see whether or not they can withstand freezing weather. If we're going to have frost, I don't want to leave those things out there. Well,
someone can babysit the first aid kit over the winter, you know.
That's true too.
I'll be happy to do it. It's just that if people are expecting those things to be up there in December, and these things cannot be exposed to freezing air for long periods of time, it's not going to be possible.
Yeah, right.
I can leave Band-Aids, I can leave ace bandages, those kinds of supplies, but I'm not sure about these other things because they do have a liquid that eventually gets very cold.
Well, I would say maybe get, one to leave in there, and if it's one is sacrifice to potential frost. We'll risk, put a new one in the spring. But let's at least get one in there. Christine's having some difficulty, and if she's going to be working there through December, I'd like there to be an ice pack. So make sure there is one. But other than that, I think that is it for the budget for this year. And then I guess Karen, I might mention, I'm pretty sure. Well, we'll just see. I think, you know, Frank and the people who got topsoil and compost, I'm sure will use it up, but I can email everyone directly here right around the workday, just to make sure everyone's gotten their fill of their purchased compost and topsoil, and anything that we can scrape off the ground, we could throw into the pollinator garden, if we want,
Okay.
for that future budget question. And then Margie's been so patient.
Your
But
turn,
also,
Margie.
are you
Hi, can you hear
frozen?
me?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Well, first of all, sorry I'm late. I forgot I had a 5 o'clock appointment. I want to ask if somebody can take the notes. I have a really bad headache.
Yeah, I can send
And
out
I
the
don't know
meeting
if I'll
notes.
last the whole meeting either. Thank you. We might not have much to include in them anyway. And I was going to ask what we were talking about before, but I think it was a work day and we're going to talk about it again.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, of course. I'm sorry you've got a headache. I wish I could fix it through the auras of the computer. Operations, do you have anything else that we should touch on before moving on?
Not. Oops. No, I'm not muted. Not that I can think of right now. No. I'm just looking at my notes here.
Yeah, Mark. Oh, and then I'm sorry, Eric.
Yeah, Mark could still chime in.
Well, not so much. I don't know if it fits into operations, but I was going to make a suggestion that I was looking at the mulch piles, and they seem to be kind of spilling into the parking lot. And I was going to suggest that at some point, if we can get somebody to move that away, so we have an extra parking space, I think it would be nice. And also maybe I don't know about you guys, but it looks like we got a ton of mulch. I don't know that we're going to run out of that anytime soon. Maybe tell the city to back off on that for a while.
It's not even the city, isn't it? Just that company that does it every once in a while.
There's 2 companies, and they just come in. There's 2 companies, and I don't know. They've stopped telling me when they're coming, and they just come and dump stuff.
We know how to contact them, Margie?
So I don't even know. I have phone numbers, and the last time I was there, when someone dumped stuff, it was a time before this past time. I asked him not to dump it in the parking lot, and he said he would come and move it over, and somebody moved it over, but then somebody else came and dumped stuff again.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the person or the different. I can call and
A lot of generosity there.
Maybe we need to make
ask them.
a sign that says no mulch beyond this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I might even, maybe that's the best way to communicate with them, is to say, no more mulch right now. We're all set, or something like too. Since we don't have any way to communicate.
Well, I'll call them. I can call them.
Oh, you have, okay, I missed that part. You do have a way to communicate with them. Okay, great.
I just want to mention some of us.
In this notebook,
Go ahead, Karen. Sorry.
Some of us, as long as the mulch pile isn't frozen, we do wheelbarrows of it as it works out for us through the winter. So it does get used during the winter.
Fab. Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. We haven't been going through it as quickly as they've been bringing it, for sure.
they can dump it on top of the old mulch. That's old mulch is pretty low, so I'll ask them if they can't dump it. If they can't keep it out of the parking lot, please don't bring any more. How about that?
Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
And I'll
And
sign for
somebody could be asked to move what's, kind of falling into the parking lot right now. I mean, I can use.
awesome. And
If we tell them to stop delivering, we have to remember to tell them to begin delivering again. Otherwise, I don't want to cut them off.
yeah, definitely that. Margie, can you?
But I don't think there's just not gonna be that many deliveries in the winter.
Why don't we just? My suggestion then is I'm just going to make a sign that says, "Please do not dump the mulch past this point." At the closing workday, we can have some folks shovel it out of that parking spot, and I will make a sign so next time they come, they don't dump it past that line. Margie, if you can email me the name of the company and their phone number so that can be in the drive, so we know who to contact in the future.
That's the thing, there's two companies. But I
Okay,
don't know
but we
which
only have
has
one.
been doing there's two.
But we only have one phone number.
There's two companies. I had two phone numbers, so I have to call and find out who did the last dumping.
Or just you don't have to call either. Can you sorry, Margie, you're breaking up quite a bit. Sorry. Go ahead.
My internet is not good.
You can go ahead. Sorry. What were you saying? Can you just put both companies' phone numbers in the Google Drive so that way, or email them to me and I will put them in the drive so we are able to contact them in the future. I don't think you need to call right now. We'll just work on making a clear sign and a clear line for them to follow if they should dump some this. I think it seems like, yeah, probably not until spring. So, but if they should, we'll have it set up for them. And then you don't need to worry about calling until until there's an issue where they cross our little border line or something like that. And then Eric.
Yeah. Well, first I wanted to apologize that the mulch piles have gotten out of hand because they haven't been used for the paths. I haven't been keeping up on the paths. I did make a dent in it. I did do one path. I'll touch on that when I do the pathing report. Also, for operations, on the thistle corner, I took the grass whip and I whipped down all the top of the thistles so that they won't go to flower. But I mean, the roots are still there. So we still need time spent on that, but bought us maybe a couple weeks.
Cool.
What would we do without thistle?
You know, we could, depending on how many people are there on the closing day, we could even do some corridor work that day as well. And
yeah, that's a great idea.
You know, and I'm making a list as we're talking about everything else. So when we get to that, I'll bring it up.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Any other operations?
Not from my end.
All right. Outreach. Margie, do you want to go first?
I have really nothing to say. I haven't heard anything from anybody. The waiting list hasn't changed since last time. There's only 1 or 2 people on there. I haven't even looked at it, so I don't really remember.
And we don't have any. Do we have any available plots? We have
nothing going on.
Do we not have any available plots?
Yeah, we do.
But the people on the wait list.
I have to. They don't want it now.
Oh, they wouldn't even want to
I
reserve
asked
one
them-
now?
I told them they would be first on the waiting list in the spring. So basically, it is reserved, but they didn't want to even come and look now.
Okay. All right. I had a couple people approach me today in person about it, so I'll let them know once they send me an email that there is a wait list right now and that they'll be added to the wait list.
Yeah, they can contact me. You can send me their name and email addresses. Or if they want an open plot now, then we don't have to pay for it and they can cultivate it.
Awesome. I'll let them know. But right now, all I see is the one anyways. Okay. Anything else? Eric, do you have anything?
Just apologies that I scheduled this meeting for 7 a.m. instead of 7 p.m. on Facebook. So hopefully we're not missing anybody.
My God, how fun would that meeting have been? I wish my cats would relax. I really, really need them to relax. Sorry. Great.
Sarah, I just looked at the map I have in my documents and it looks like C12 and D9 are open.
Oh yeah, I forgot C12. Okay, I have D9. Yes, I forgot Nora is, and that's the one that is going to get mowed. And then I guess Melissa took over the one weed plot, so B11 is possibly open as well. Since
Or if somebody is coming back to it, I'm not sure. I have to go on the drive and check.
Okay, great. Great. Well, I will tell them there might be a possibility. I guess if the one person isn't interested in looking now and someone else shows up on the wait list, they can look at the two and make the decision. And we'll just save the other for.
We don't even have to save it. The person is aware that it might go before, they're aware that there might not be an open plot.
Oh,
right away.
Okay. All right.
Yep. You snooze, you lose.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, they didn't snooze. They wanted to be on the wait list, so they're like choosing to snooze.
They're waiting for something better.
I guess so.
20
All right.
megabucks.
Great. Well, we can move on from outreach then. Eric, you already gave us a mini path maintenance update. Did you want to say anything else?
No, I got the one that was, let's see, what would it be? 2, 4, 6, right? A6 to B6. Next plan is to do the one that's 4, so A4 to B4, because that one is kind of overgrown.
A4. Oh, perfect. Great. Yeah. By the pollinator zone. Cool. We'll definitely make sure that's part of the workday. Oh, and then I'm going to add as part of the closing workday list the little stakes. Great. All right. Fab. Donation garden is me, and then Stephen. Stephen, did you have anything updates with the donation garden project?
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
edge of my seat.
You're looking for
No,
a report?
I'm looking for my,
That thing.
I can't find,
What were you looking
I
for,
can't-
Stephen?
I'm off my, hold on, keep on going, I'll come back.
Okay, all right, we'll come back. I'm dying to know. I mean, the latest
Yeah.
pictures of were some ample produce. So we'll do pollinator report really quick.
Okay, so the pollinator has been weed whacked, cardboard's down, and the 3 beds on the west side are laid out. The next step is putting a good thick layer of wood chips in there. So that's definitely a group task that we could add to whatever.
Awesome.
And yeah, and get that, get as much in there as we can. And then I have plants lined up for planting in there next year, and a few odds and ends to stick in to spaces in the 3 plots on the east side.
Excellent.
Great.
Great.
It's so exciting. It looked, like I said, I love that lemon bee balm, and it's just amazing over there. And then what is the not swamp, what weed? What am I blanking on? It's called the bike path, and it was lovely in the pollinator garden too. Blanking on what it's called. Very tall with the pink on the top. But it looked great.
Okay. I did put some New York ironweed in there. That's just starting out, but when that in a couple of years, that'll be 6 feet tall and have a big cluster of blue flowers on the top at the end of the summer. They're very dramatic looking.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that up. Okay, exciting. Great. Any other pollinator comments, questions?
Just, I'm going to be letting the wood chips break down over the winter. If I can find some kind of layer to put on top of the wood chips, I will. But then in the spring, it needs compost and dirt on top of that. So that's what we'll be looking. And once that's in, then we'll have mature plants to be putting in there.
Would you be able to just before the spring get a rough guess of how many cubic yards of
Yeah, I don't have it right in front of me, but whatever we bought last year for the 3 beds on the east side.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, great. We do have that. Okay,
we
cool.
could do that, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And that's all should be in past notes for this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so the volunteer hours report, it's like amazing. Oh yeah, no, we're going back to donations. Stephen found it.
Sorry about that. I couldn't get my audio back on from the things, so I had to get out and come back in. So
We're love Google Meet, and I do want everyone to know I emailed the city, and they said there's nothing wrong with Google Meet.
No.
So, and it's not Google, it's us.
No, I'm not suggesting there's anything
No,
wrong.
I am. Anyways, go ahead.
I'm not. No, it was at my end. Anyway, so what I was going to say is that I've been sending photos as I bring the stuff over. So this week, assuming I'm around, because my daughter's expecting any day, that this is probably the last shot of getting donations from folks, realistically speaking. So there's been one plot that basically directed me to take what they had, and that's pretty much depleted at this point. So I would love to get another message out to everyone so that they can tell me about their plots and whether I'm free to harvest before we start to get into cold nights and rotting fruit and that kind of stuff.
Okay,
So
so add that to the
I'd like
meeting.
to really make a push for this Monday.
Meeting notes push for Monday donations. All right. And I'm sorry, what by what time Monday do you prefer to have it in there? You come in the
By
morning,
8.
right? So it's not-
By
by
8.
8,
By
okay.
8.
Great. And email you if people want their plot
Yeah.
harvested. Okay. Awesome. Great. Okay, anything else?
Just a little by the way, I have another, I meet with another group on Google Meet through my job, and we used to do Zoom. And Google Meet gives us a lot of problems also. So the city might not know that there's nothing wrong with Google Meet. It's just not as efficient as Zoom.
Yeah.
There are more quirks that you wouldn't necessarily say something's wrong with it, but it's much more difficult to navigate.
Yeah. It was a funny conversation because I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, they're
But
not
we
going to
either have
change
to
anything.
blame Spectrum or Google, and it's probably both.
I'll blame Spectrum.
Now,
The city's
I've never
perspective,
been
I
on a
think Google
Google
Meets is
Meet
cheaper.
session that even came close to a Zoom session
Right.
in terms of quality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Great. So, okay, so donation, pollinator, we just did. Volunteer hours. It's been an amazing, sorry.
Whoop, cat call.
Okay. There's
Meow.
only two of them. Okay.
I get in trouble.
Volunteer hours have been amazing this year. There's only 2 people who haven't reported any kind of hours. It does seem the best way to find out is through, we have like 14 different ways for people to convey that they've done hours. And I think that is just the best, is just meeting people where they're at for them to be able to communicate what they've been doing. So it's been great. Everyone's contributed something this year. I do think it's been a great year in terms of weather. So I think that's maybe why, and I think a lot of people did their hours at the beginning. So we didn't have quite as much help with some of the late season growing of weeds and path maintenance and like things that we did need a lot more hours for. So we can kind of talk about that next year, how we want to handle that. But otherwise, that stuff's going great. Compost operations, that project's still moved to next year. But I guess my update with that is I do think we should just go ahead and use the thistle plots. And I am hoping that the opening work day, with the dieback of, winter and with that early spring growth, we'll be able to see which of the perennials are coming back. And is that so loud? Can you guys hear that? Or is
No.
it just me? Okay, great. So anyways, I'm hoping that we'll be able to see which of the perennials is going to start smothering out the thistle, and then if we need to lay mulch down or get the landscape cloth before we set up the bins for compost in that area. Any questions about that? Great. All right. Any other comments from gardeners about anything? Mark.
Yes, I don't know if any of you have noticed, but the pump in the pump house, when you turn it on and off, there's a slight leakage that goes on there. So I think that should, maybe if the city is in charge of that, should be notified. Probably needs a gasket or something. I don't know. Something's going on. So it's not a huge leak. It doesn't continue. It's just when you turn it on and off, there's this spurt, and then that's it.
So really quick, just because I'm realizing I don't know. Stephen, you call Broadbrook to turn the water off.
Got my audio back. I call the city.
You call the city and they call, okay. And who in the city are you calling?
I call the water department.
The water department. And can I email them about this pipe, or is it better to call them?
I'll mention it.
Okay. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay. All right.
You're talking about
I
the
wonder if it
gasket?
just needs that screw, like, 'cause sometimes those just have like a screw that needs to be tightened. Okay. Awesome. Anything else? All right. So I guess I left it on the agenda, reminder for the garden tour. Lame. Old business, we can just talk about how awesome the garden tour was. It was amazing.
Awesome.
Truly
Awesome.
a time. And I just
Do it
cannot wait for
again.
next year. Yeah, I'm like, hopefully the closing workday will be just as populated and fun. And yeah, it was spectacular. I feel like we just all learned so many things. It was great.
It was very cool. And the
And
food
we
was
had,
good.
Lots of good food.
Yeah, the food
Yeah.
was great.
and then we had Stephen as the journalist of the evening, taking some great, great pictures that were really sweet. Oh, awesome. So, we'll definitely do it again next year. Really excited. Oh, I just wanted to reiterate this again since we had people late. I mentioned this at the top, and someone from the, oh my gosh, I just want to get because it is the conservation. The community garden is a subcommittee of the Conservation Commission. And someone from the Conservation Commission reached out to Ted and I to say, hey, we haven't heard from the community garden in a while. What's up? Realizing that some of the guidelines have not been carried through, and we used to update them yearly on what's going on. So I'm in correspondence with Dan just to like update how we run meetings, like tell him where the minutes are, and he can watch the recordings of the meetings, etc. And then meet up with him to figure out going forward what we should do to better keep them posted, and what kind of formal yearly updates they need. And so I'll update you guys on that. And then I think it might open up conversations for, that project they were putting research in for last year. So that'll probably mean a lot of discussion again about some of these city funded, restoration things. Great.
Correct, Sarah?
All right. So the closing workday, let's figure that out. I think it would be important with the people who have projects to be able to be there. Ted, you have your hand up. I was just about to ask you a question.
Oh, just
I think you're
relative
muted. Wait, it doesn't say you're
to
muted.
the email from
Wait, Ted, I
Dan.
can't hear you. I'm not sure why.
I can hear him.
I can hear him.
Yeah.
I can hear him.
Can you hear me now?
No, I still can't hear you.
We can hear Sarah. We can hear Ted.
Yeah,
But Sarah can't hear Ted.
I can hear you, Sarah. Whoops.
Sarah's screen says
I
she's
just wanted
muted.
to relate to the
Oops.
whoops.
She's got to reboot.
Uh,
There she comes.
Yeah, this is cool. This is Google Meet.
Yep, it is. I've been booted out 3 times tonight.
Yeah. With regard to the Conservation Committee, I was not directly emailed. I happened to be down at the office checking to see if there was any more financial information, bills coming in. and I spoke to Barbara, and she happened to mention, oh, I saw an email that I guess goes through the city employees, where she noticed that he had, Dan had written email about the garden committee. And so I asked her if she would send me a copy of that if it was allowed, given what was in that email. And she did forward it to me. So then I forwarded to Sarah and said we should discuss it at the meeting. So Dan did not make a direct contact to me, and as far as I know, did not contact Sarah directly. It was a forwarded email from Barbara, who happened to see it and mention it to me. But I think it definitely does deserve opening up communication, as we probably should be. I have no idea of the history of how we would relate to the Conservation Committee or report to them in any way, but I'm sure that it would certainly be appropriate.
I'm sorry, my computer like stopped working, but Dan and I have been emailing back and forth since whenever Barbara sent me forwarded both of us that email. So
Okay.
I'm in correspondence with him. And when I said we're planning a meeting, we are actively planning a meeting, and I'm actively going to be sending him an update of everything, of how we do everything. And then once I find out what he wants, I'll let everyone know, and then we can decide what that means for us, what we want to do going forward, etc. It's just right now, he kind of just seemed like he's like, what's going on? And we're like, what's going on? So we're going to meet in person, and
Good.
so I know
Yeah.
So I know what's going on.
Find out what they want and why they want
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Well, the email did mention something about something, I think, that's over toward East Street, that little where a garden used to be, or before it was moved to the current location.
There was another
Clark.
I
think it-
don't know. I don't know the history of that, but there was some kind of thing going on over where they created a new little park and walking area over just off East Street.
I
Yeah.
think that his email is referencing.
And he mentioned that, and then he said, "Oh, and that brings up something about a garden committee that he thought was a subcommittee of the Conservation Committee, and what's going on with that these days." So that was
Boy.
sort of the gist of.
They don't know what's going on. There must be a
Yeah, they
change
don't.
in management or something.
I think that's what it sounds like, because he said he found that we have a link on the city web page, and I was like, well, we also have all of our meetings there and our, agendas, and it's a public meeting. I told him if you wanted to come tonight, etc. So yeah, I think it's just going to be a lot of just like informing him, and then,
So he's new
I
on the
think
job.
just
Is that it?
the email that he sent me today was just about he was around when it was first formed, the community garden, and there used to be a yearly update with them about how our finances were going, etc. So I think it's just something similar to that.
Okay, we can always provide them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all public already.
Yeah.
It's going to be like catching up with an old relative. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what
that's
point-
what it'll be.
So at one point, someone approached us about creating another community garden right off of East Street on Clark Street. I
On Clark
wonder
Street.
If
Yep.
that's what he was referring to.
No, there's a new.
There's another. I forget
place.
what the number. There's a number involved in the project.
On East Street?
I know there's new trail, the new trail and parking area pretty far down East Street going towards Route 5. I don't. My wife and I've gone up it a couple
Oh,
times.
yeah. Yeah,
I don't
I
know
know what you
if
mean.
that's what they're talking about, but we don't have
Small.
any gardens over there and never have.
No, it's between Clark, I think, and 141.
Yeah, there's
Somewhere
another hiking area
there's
there.
another little
Conservation.
park
Right. Yeah.
back
Okay.
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Well, it's got nothing to do with us.
Nope.
Yeah, but
No gardens.
Yeah,
there.
we got a big ginseng patch there.
Hmm.
cool. Well, yes, much to be discovered in this new correspondence. I'm glad we have Barbara. Super
Barbara
awesome.
rules. It's totally awesome.
truly keeping it all together over there. So, and here. Great. The workday. Let's get back to that. I just want to make sure. So, Ted, I was going to ask you, you were wanting some help putting the final pipes or like stakes in the ground, marking the plots.
Yeah. So I did not do the down along D.
Okay.
Along the D plot.
I want to make sure people who are leading a project like that, if you're is that okay to do for part of the closing workday?
Sure, that would be fine. I probably would only need 1, 2 people would be plenty
Awesome.
to help out.
Awesome.
And that could be people who are, can't do a lot of, heavy lifting or stuff like that,
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, I have all the strings and the measuring tapes and stuff. It's just a matter of getting the right things and pounding in a few stakes.
Awesome. Okay, great. All right. So, I guess I'll go through what I have written down, and then Frank, catch me if there's something missing. And then via this list, the people who are essential to being there because they're leading projects or need people to finish projects, we should base the workday on their schedule. Because if some of us have to miss it, that's okay. It's sad is okay. So I have make a sign for where the mulch border is, shovel the mulch back off of the parking lot to establish that border. Working on the corridor and path work in the more severely needed areas. Ted, help Ted with the stakes for the last of the plot marking. Pollinator garden. So Karen will need help with the mulch, filling the beds with mulch, putting all of the hoses away, and a shed inventory. Anything else?
I think with the shed is not just the inventory. We'll clean it out.
Clean shed. Okay.
Yeah, we'll clean it out. Good for the winter. Organize it. That kind of thing.
And let go of the things that we don't need. There's still some old tools in there that probably should be donated somewhere.
Okay.
Just keep it clean, like it was last year. Again, I don't know if it was Caitlin or somebody did a tremendous job.
Sarah, remember Ryan had said she liked to make signs, so maybe.
Yes. So yeah, if we have time, we can definitely do that at this meeting or at this work day. Or else I was wondering if it would be ridiculous to host a midwinter gathering at my house or something. But Ryan had brought up a lingering dream I think a lot of us have had, is it would be great for each plot to have a sign that said its number on it. So this could be a great winter activity, get the supplies, people decorate the sign for their plot and then can stick it out there in the spring, or we could work on that at the work day, have some art supplies around. or it could be an opening day activity. But Ryan was sort of investigating lower, like low maintenance, like community hours. And I was like, that could be a fun one, was her suggestion. So I can put that down. It seems like we have a lot to do, but depending on who comes, that could be good for them to work on. Great. Anything else? Yes, even.
You muted, Stephen.
Sorry about that. What an audio mess I've made today. Anyway, did we complete new business earlier? Oh, we
I
got to-
just, this is technically new business because it came up during the
and we're
meeting.
still in it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So at our next meeting in November, that technically is our officer elections. And we've kind of done that so that we go into the next year already with folks in place instead of starting off by trying to get folks in place.
Okay, great. I'll add that to the discussion after we finish this.
I'm voting for Sarah.
Oh, that's great.
Me too.
And
Very
Ted.
flattering,
And Ted.
guys. Hold your horses. We're not starting the campaign yet. We have to get through the closing workday discussion.
I already have a re-election motto for you. Weed back better.
That's good.
Oh,
Whoa.
Wow. That sounds like an
How about-
operations
how
slogan.
How about weed shall overcome?
How about make
Wow.
the thistle plot great again?
We
I would
shall,
say that's definitely my campaign promise.
Leave it to a writing teacher.
We'll get green hats.
Oh my God.
oh.
Sounds like fun. Green
Just-
Bear.
Okay, so the workday though, are we comfortable with it being, what was the consensus that we were sensing was November 2nd? It's the first Saturday of November. Let's see, I think we just need to make sure someone, Frank or Mark, is there. Ted and Karen have big projects. I would like to be there to help with the mulch. Does anyone have a conflict with November 2nd?
I have a
Well,
potential conflict.
Crap.
I don't know yet because it's college football and high school soccer season. And I'm committed to go to my grandkids' home games, but I don't know yet. If there's no conflict, I will be there.
You're not going to have high school soccer on a Saturday.
Yeah, that's probably true, but there's college football games.
Well, there's that, but yeah,
If we could do Saturday morning,
No, he
Yes.
does. He does play on Saturdays because he's in a. It's not just high school; it's the region.
Oh,
It's a
well,
regional.
if you're on a club team, then you're going to play on the weekends probably.
Yeah.
how about a Sunday afternoon?
Why don't we do both?
Yeah, both.
Because
That's a good idea.
I don't want to work in the afternoon. I'd rather work in the morning.
There you go.
Yep.
I'm gonna work in the morning.
So are you saying to split it between 2 days or just have two shifts?
No, 2 shifts.
Okay.
2 shifts.
So the morning shift,
Which
how
day?
early do we usually do? 10?
Yeah, we usually start 9 or 10 in the
Are we
morning.
talking Saturday?
Yeah, November 2nd, Saturday, 10 a.m. Until I feel like we wouldn't need to go too late, much later than 3. So around noon could be when we switch shifts, I guess. So noon to 3, 10 to noon.
And if you make it a 2-hour workday, maybe that just becomes more reasonable for people.
Yep.
And say,
So just 10 to noon.
I can put in 2 hours I think we can get a lot of these jobs done in that time.
Yeah, I feel like last year, if I remember, we banged it out pretty quickly and then we got cider donuts.
Yeah, I mean, if you make the times longer, it's going to straggle. You know, you're going to get stragglers in,
Yeah.
and it's better to have it a little more concentrated. If they can come, they come. If they can't, they can't.
Okay, great.
That's
So
that's right.
10 to noon on the 2nd, and
Noon to 2.
and then noon to 2 is keep that okay for the second shift.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if we need a little extra time, we can put in more than 2 hours. But
Awesome. Okay, great. Anything else about the work
I had
day?
a tentative commitment that day, but I would certainly make myself available to haul hoses or whatever needs to
Awesome.
be done.
Sure.
We've already given like 400 hours of volunteer, so no
Oh,
pressure.
I didn't like that many.
I've been keeping track. Cool. Anything else, I guess, about the workday before we move on to talking about the next meeting and the officer elections?
I just wanted to say, if you were talking about signs for the plots,
Yeah.
since the stakes I've put in the ground, or how they're tubes,
Mm-hmm.
if you could have some kind of stake that would go down through those.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
one at the corner of every plot.
Oh, that's a great idea. Okay,
If-
great.
If we can think of, you know, whoever's doing it, some kind of design that might go with that could be pounded down inside one of them.
Yeah, and that would
Just
help
as an
those stay
idea.
more permanent, I would imagine too. If they are really signified what they're saying. Okay, great. I love that. Okay, great. Awesome. So I guess I'm realizing, do the guidelines say how the board is elected, or anything about that?
Do we need to have elections if everybody's going to stay in the same position?
Yes,
We do?
Good.
it's good
Good.
practice.
Well,
do
I
that
guess I
via,
just
via
want to.
email.
It seems superfluous to me.
I want to make sure. I guess what I'm realizing is we might need to be taking more care to our governance and creating rules around that. Versus so we can know, like, every year this is how it's handled. Because it is, if everyone's staying, it does seem silly, but maybe we should have a formal, just like, I elect to continue, or, you know, something like that. So, you know, to keep things organized. I hate trying to navigate Google Drive on my phone. It's really
What do you
frustrating.
need on there, Sarah?
I'm looking to see if the guidelines say anything about this. Here we go. Committee positions. Um, okay, it does not say. And I'm not seeing anything immediately here in the drive that says anything about it. There's some explanation of different responsibilities, some like documents stating from a few years ago. But I'm going to add this to next year, that we need to focus on governance.
Well, very often committees are formed and then the membership decides who will fill the positions for that committee.
But
What did you say, Ted? The membership what?
The members of the committee decide who will fill the positions on that committee. Now, if there's any direct relationship with the conservation committee, is there somebody on that committee who has responsibility for overseeing our subcommittee?
No.
If there isn't, we formed a committee and we sort of govern ourselves as a committee, and we can report to the conservation committee. And I'm sure that in talking to Dan and so forth, we can establish a better reporting relationship so they know on a regular basis how we're doing. But I think it's up to the committee to decide on who will take on the positions on the committee.
Right, and that's how you do it, Ted. You do it by a form of election so that we can say the body decided that so-and-so and so-and-so shall serve in those positions. That's exactly what we're doing.
But we don't
when
have
you
to go out
say-
to the full membership of all the plots. It's elected by the members of the committee.
No, I'm not saying that, actually. I'm
Yeah.
saying that we inform the plot members that at the next meeting, officers are elected. And the reason you do that is so that you never have a situation where someone says, well, I really was looking to, participate in this position, like I always wanted to be treasurer or something like that, but there never was a process that I could access to do that. So this is the process that people can access.
I would say
it's not
process
not a
to
big
me,
deal.
Yeah.
Yes, but this process to me is not very clear. And so I'm realizing I think we just need to make a clear one that just
I
says
agree.
like maybe,
Yeah.
but I'm worried we don't have the time to make a truly formalized process for what it turns out is next meeting's decision. So I'm going to put that we need to work on next year governance, coming up with a strict, like, what does a nomination look like? So that way all gardeners can know what the positions are and if they would like to run and what running means. And for now, what was your vision, Stephen, or what had happened in the past? Well, Margie, you go ahead.
So are you saying that, for example, if somebody else wants to be treasurer, then we would have an election and maybe Ted would win and maybe that other person would win? That seems so, because I think we should keep whoever is in their position and wants to be in the position should keep the position. Anyone can join the committee and we can always find things for people to do.
I think this is good fodder for conversation for determining any new rules for governance and how these positions are created and filled. More ample discussion I think we need to save for the spring or whenever we can dedicate some real time, because we can go back and forth on this. Do we want it to be you're guaranteed your position for 4 years and it's forced to be turned over because we want more people to access it? There's so many different ways to approach it.
I am asking this because when I joined this garden, and heard about community service, I said it's not possible for me to do more physical work than I'm already doing. So I'm not sure what I could do. And it was suggested that I join the committee, and that could be my community service. So I don't know that I could do other community service other than being on this committee. I wouldn't mind a different position, but this one is very suited to my needs and my abilities. So if I'm going to be booted out of this, I don't know what else I could do. I would like to
No,
know
no,
that.
no. Okay, hold on one sec. This is election of officers. There's a difference between officers and heads of subcommittees like you, Margie, like Frank.
So who's the officer? Sarah?
Yes, Sarah is an officer.
Ted.
The
Ted?
clerk is an
Ted.
officer, and the treasurer is an officer. We only have 3 officers.
So
I
they can
think-
get booted out.
So you've been re-elected, Margie.
I would
Well,
just say,
You're safe
Again-
where you are.
Nobody wants that job.
so
Like
just
that.
again
That's
to
what's fair
emphasize, as I completely agree with everything Stephen's saying, but this is all new. We did not do this last year, and we did not talk about it last year.
I think we did.
So, okay.
But I don't disagree with you, Sarah. We never have kind of done the next step, which is to, reduce it into, some clear writing in our literature so that as it should be. But we did decide last year, or even the year before, I can't recall, that we all thought that it must much better to get people in place so that we're not starting the year up when we're trying to pull everything together and new members are coming in, et cetera, with election of, if folks were already in place, we were much better off. So that's why I'm reminding folks, and I do believe strongly that that's when we did the switch, Sarah, was in November. I can look at the minutes. It'll be, we should look at the minutes and make sure I'm not nuts, but that's my recollection.
We
That
did a
won't-
nominal voting for me in the spring. I remember we went through a thing and we voted and everybody unanimous that I would become the clerk. So I remember
That's correct.
we did
the
do-
reason
we did a thing.
you're right. And the reason is because we did transition, if you remember, before we started. So yes, I technically was still the clerk in November, and then we did, you're absolutely right. And then we announced that we would do a transition because instead of you staying in the position that you had been in, that it really makes more sense just to keep the communications under, on the Margie and have the clerk really be the outside, to do it. I mean, what you were doing was really what a clerk does,
Formal outreach.
basically. So
But
that's,
we
you're
didn't
right. You're
open
absolutely
it
right.
up to the- We didn't open it up to the whole community. That's the part that I'm a little confused about.
We need to pause on debating the governance anymore right now. We are just going to establish what we're going to do next meeting in order to keep the 3 positions that Stephen says there is a 2-year at least precedent of formally electing the 3 officers that he mentioned earlier. And then next year we can go through this more thoroughly and really hash this out about what that means. Do we want more than the committee to vote on it? Do, anything that's been brought up. But for next week, is the suggestion, Stephen, that the 3 people who have positions that need to be re-elected, should I send a formal email to all of the gardeners, let them know this is happening? And
No.
if anyone else, or are we wanting to, just as a committee, these 3 people, we will, whoever can lead a motion to re-elect so-and-so,
This is being tabled though. We have to discuss this more and we don't have time now. And you just said we should hold off, so we shouldn't make any
I guess-
decisions now.
Can we make a small decision to with what to do? I guess I'm grappling with, Stephen says there is a record and of having done this last year and the year before last, when Ted and I were put on different positions, or Ted was the year before, but anyways,
You volunteered.
we're put
though.
in new positions.
You volunteered and everybody thought that was great. There wasn't
And we
any
still
formal
do.
election.
And we still do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Like
I'm
volunteer-
going to say then let's do it similar to what happened with Eric in the spring. I think it will be in question because I don't know if Eric is coming back next year, so we can talk about that in the meeting next week or next month. But for the officer elections, I will go through, what is it? We said it's treasurer, secretary,
Yes,
and the chair.
correct.
And we will do our usual voting for each of those three positions, just whoever comes to the meeting. And that will be who is leading next year. And then we'll more properly map this out and flesh this out in the following growing season.
Okay, I just have one thing more.
Yeah, of course.
Shouldn't we first find out if any of you, Sarah, Eric, Ted, wish to continue? If you don't wish to continue, then there's an open position. Then it makes more sense to have an election. If you wish to continue, we just need consensus or agreement among the committee.
I am looking to continue. Ted, are you looking to continue for next year?
I'm open if somebody else wants to do it. Otherwise, I would be happy to continue. I mean,
Eric?
I'm hearing that we might want to consider that somebody says, well, why are these same people always doing the same thing? I'd like to be doing that. And
For the money.
It's for the money.
it's, yeah,
But
I mean,
every
it
single
really,
time, every single
the
time
health and retirement benefits are great.
That's it.
I do it for the parking space.
every time I've sent out notes, I put out an invitation for people to join the committee. How many people have joined?
People
That's a
come to
question.
the meetings. I think they join.
I'll note
Norman,
that too. Like, what does joining the committee mean? We could also formalize that.
Yep.
That means you don't have to do other community service, basically, because you're always working.
That's right.
Stephen?
I'll be very brief. I just quickly checked back at the minutes from last November, and I misspoke. At least in last November, we did not do that. Although I believe if I look back the year before, and I'll double check, I believe that there was a November that we did because we all felt we were better positioned, right, to deal with this now than picking it up. But I certainly misspoke as to last November, according to what I see in the minutes.
Okay. Eric, do you want to discuss being reelected next meeting?
We might need to take more time to find somebody to take the position. Being that it's the end of the year, we can find time to find somebody else. I can step into it and then kind of hand it off to somebody else when the time comes that I need to hand off my position. So
You're moving, right?
I mean, it's the plan. And hopefully it should be happening over the winter. So, but we'll see.
Okay.
Oh man,
Steven?
I had another neighbor like you.
Thank you, Margie.
One of a kind.
I just checked, and yes, in the previous November, 2022 is when the officers were elected.
Okay. Okay, 2022. Okay. And I'll look at that. I'll make sure that that's forwarded for when we talk about governance.
And Eric, that's probably why, because we didn't do it last November, that's why we probably picked it up in March of this prior year.
Okay. Okay.
That and I wanted to transition, so.
Okay, great. Well, so next meeting we will I'll make it continuing business to secure everyone's positions for next year and then discuss transitioning Eric's, figuring out who might want to take over for Eric and figure out how we want to vocalize that to the rest of the gardeners. Fabulous. And that meeting is going to be the Thursday after our closing work day, which feels appropriate.
November
which is
7th.
November 7th
7th,
at
yeah.
7 p.m.
If I'm still in the country.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
No stinking thinking. All right. No stinking thinking, please.
Where are you
I was
going,
thinking,
Ted?
thinking.
Uh, it could be anywhere
Canada.
except, maybe Canada, maybe
It's a-
Sweden.
It's an election joke.
Come on now, let's be positive.
Yes.
Come too.
We'll just, so once we figure out governance, we'll be able to run the garden like it's its own nation anyways. So maybe we can just figure
That's
that out.
it.
I like that idea.
Okay, great. But before, so next meeting, November 7th, 7 p.m., closing workday, November 2nd, 10 to noon, noon to 2. Any final comments, anything before adjournment? Amazing. Great. Stephen, I'm obsessed with this quilt. I've been staring at it the whole time. I've been listening to what you're saying, but I've also just been quilt brained. So very cool. All right, awesome. This was another amazing meeting.
My wife was a quilter, that's why.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Well, you can tell her I am too. That's awesome. And yeah, I guess anyone move to, or I move to adjourn the meeting. Does anyone
Second.
second? All in favor? Aye. Wonderful.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.